Hello again, and welcome to another a bit special tutorial. This time I will tell you how you can assemble the Tamron SP 60mm f2 macro DI2. This is version 2, of course. It's for Canon, and if we zoom out a little, all those you see here is one lens. I have taken it apart because the lens has been dropped, and this tube and the inner part of the focus system was actually not fully round, so it was binding a little when I put the inner what you say, helicoid, tubes in here, and it could not really turn, so I have a hard time to actually disassemble it. So I will just show you how you can assemble it in it's actually an easy, kind of easy lens to work with, and we need some tools. In my opinion, I use, of course, my good tweezer here, very pointy, a dentist tool. Maybe I will also use the other one here. You can get those in many different shapes and forms. And of course 2 crosshead screwdrivers, which will be JIS. Well, it actually PH1 and PH not PS1 PH0 and PH00. Well, I have filed and grind the sharp pointy tip so it fit perfect in the screw. I know it's not a GIS as it should be, but this works really good. Now we will just head into the to the inner, the inner tube here. I have set some marks around just to remember how things are put together, and I will just zoom in. I will just zoom in a little so you can actually see what's going on. I haven't found any repair service manual for this lens, so I have a hard time to take it apart. There was just some dust in here. Now to get things in place, the first tube that goes in, helicoid tubes, is the what did you say, the front tube, and there's a way to put it in because I have to sit correct. This hole here has to sit in the groove or whatever it calls, and to put it in you has to be a little off when you put it back in. It will mean this hole should not stay here but actually over here, something like that, when you put it in. There are 3, what you say, not grooves, but well, and there are 3 pins here, there, and there. And therefore, when I put it in, it should simply catch those grooves here, as you can see, and turn the inner tube, as you can see here. Now, the next thing that goes in is actually the next, well, the next tube here. It has a notch here, and well, I shouldn't put it in yet. I just right now find out it's because the inner, actually the inner front lens, which will be this one, it has to sit like that. It means this way. It doesn't really matter which direction it sits, but it just has to sit here. I just set a mark before I disassemble it, and of course I will find the same mark here. Now, to put the lens in, I'll just use a tool, and hopefully it can go on here and all the way into here. And it actually fits very, very good, because the length of the rubber tool is actually almost the same as the tube itself. So I can just put it on here. And where is my screwdriver? Here. Oh. And those tiny screws, some of those, and I will load 2 screwdrivers so they are ready when putting them in. Now, sorry, there are some plastic rollers which has to sit correct. So when putting those in here, if it's possible, of course. So it will be something like that. And just have to catch the first screw in here. Okay, it goes there. And just do the next, these tiny rollers. And when I put the second roller in, I'm safe home, as you can say. So we are there. There's no more need for that. You see, it fits actually perfect. Almost. But the last roller comes in here. And of course a screw. And then the rest of the assembly process is not really that hard. So, and just tighten the last one. So, and where is this? Something was on the lens. Not happy with that. Just do a little cleaning. sometimes some dust specks or whatever can come on and make it a little harder to actually do the assembly process. So there are some specks on the front of this lens, so I'll just use some lighter fluid and PEC-PAD to clean the surface. Just a little. There's something on the glass surface. Well, we can try to use some clips just to see if it will work. It's actually okay. Now, and then the back of the focus system ring, there's a pin down here, as you can see, and the notch is here, and they have to engage in here. Of course, I have looped the lens, the focus system, so when I put it in, I have to bend it a little. Not bend it, but simply just move the inner. Okay, just do another trick, because this one has to sit there. Maybe I was a little too fast, because the I should not have put the see, it doesn't really work. So I shouldn't have put the front lens in, because now I have a problem. Not good. Okay, take it apart again. Because the one helicoid, the small front helicoid has to engage with the bigger back helicoid ring. So I will just put this on again, see how it will go. I think it will go, of course. I think it's a good lens when it's assembled correct. Which it will be when I'm done. I'm quite sure about that. So, and this can stand there. Now, the problem was that I should have turned the ring a little bit more. So something over there. So the hole here on the side that engage with the focus ring have to sit over there as long as it can. And then I can put this in. So it is, and then move the hole, the ring, and then we are ready to put things in, because it's actually interlock with the two helicoids or tubes. Now, so we try again. Put this over here and see how it will go. Now, load some screws on the screwdriver, because it will make it easier to put the plastic and the screws in. So go something like that, and just to catch the so safe home. Almost. And I think it will work pretty good. Just have to screw it over here. And hopefully catch the thread. Yeah. Whew. Now it seems to work pretty good. And then the last one, those plastic rollers, and then it's just straight forward with the rest of the assembly process. So, and this little fellow, and tighten them gently. There's no adjustment in this when working with those plastic rollers, but we can just have a nice try, see how it works. Of course I cannot move it, sure. Now the next thing that goes in is the aperture system, which will be this part here. It actually works the way that there is a small motor, actually two motors here, and there's with some kind of a gear, it moves the aperture plates, as you can see here. So let's put it in. And I have make a small mark here, and I also make a small mark here, so I know exactly where this one have to sit. And it can actually only sit in one way. So let's see how it will go. There are some guide pins here, as you probably can see here. There are some some guide pins here, and they go in here. There are 3 of them, so they can only sit at that place. And it sits with 3 screws. So there's nothing really special about that. Oh, come on. So. And you might think, okay, why not use some thread locks? Well, if you screw something into plastic, they will not, in my opinion, untighten themselves as if it was in metal or aluminium or steel or whatever. Now, the next thing that goes in is the next lens element, which is also connected to the aperture system via this pin here. So, and also load a 2 screwdrivers with screws, so it will be easier to put them in. And there are 3 brass rollers, and they can also sit one way only. So let's see how will it turn. Well, I actually set a mark here, and I also set a mark here, and the pin that goes in here, it will go into the notch here. So, and one need a tweezer. So it just takes the first in here, see how it will go. So, wow, exciting. I mean, I think it is. But hopefully you also think it's actually great fun to work with those lenses, especially if there is not any information about it. So there goes, and then a screw. And then the rest. That's a more difficult part to put together, because it's a bit tricky the way they put this lens together. So, and there will go something there. So, and then it's just to gently tighten the screws. And when it's done, all the screw can be tightened a little bit more. It's just rollers. I mean, they not really roll, but they move, of course, when using the oh, there's some dust here. Don't know what it is, but we'll try to use some PEC-PAD and the clips for cleaning that. Just give it a little. Yeah, it helps. I mean, it's not a new lens. Now the next lens element comes in. And it has also a mark here, because it can be a little tricky to set in. I mean, how do you put it in? What's the direction of it? I mean, the position of it. Well, I set a mark here, and I set a mark here, and you see the shape of this is there's a gap here, but this is a little different, smaller than the two others. I found out it should sit that way. Something like that. There. And of course they have 3 rollers too. And I do the little trick again to load 2 screwdrivers, just because it's very handy to work that way. And then put in 1 roller. I think there was one different, but there's actually no adjustment here. Not at all. It was just what I thought it was, but there wasn't any. So, and the next is come in there. But be sure the rollers, I don't know what they call actually, but I think they call rollers because they act like a bearing kind of. So, and then gently tighten those screws. There's no need to over tighten them. Now the back of the lens, that's actually to the mount, but there's one thing I have to do before to put in the cable here, and I think they have to sit something like that. I would guess so. So, and then the back of the mount, part of the mount goes in. But this sticky tape is not really good any longer. Well, it works okay, and then something like that. And then the back here comes in, and I also set a mark somewhere. This here. So it should sit something like that, but this one comes in here. Gosh, let's see. One might think, well, you should use a plastic tweezer. Well, I haven't really scratched any lens, so I don't think it's really a problem with the tweezer. But of course one can use a plastic tweezer, of course, if one feels good about that. There's something wrong here. That might be... I mean, it can only sit one. There's only one there. Oh, sorry. It was just me who was wrong. Oh, what? No. Where did it go? There? No, it should be something like that. But there, and this one goes here. No, I'm not sure it has to sit there. But this one comes in here. Something like that. Here we are, of course. And this one has to sit there. Yeah. It's fine. Well, it's hard if one do not have a repair manual for this, so it can sometimes be a little hard to figure out. And I really have a hard time taking it apart because one screw was glued in, so it was not really good. I might be wrong, but no, I think it's fine. Well, maybe this one has to sit over here. Yeah, I think so, actually. Well, You see, if sometimes you do not set a mark, one have a problem with putting things back in. But let's see, just take it apart. One screw is really bad in this, so but it looks like the one this side here, which is flat, that it should sit something like not. No. A kind of a puzzle. Okay. I think I will go for it. So just put it in. It's I think it's right. Okay, let's see how it will work. It's not that hard to take off again, and if I'm wrong, so, and the last one. I might be wrong here, but let's see. Let's see how it will work. So, yeah, okay. Now the the front. I mean, I can set the lens here on the front. I mean, on the bottom here. But I'll just put in the focus ring itself, and it's also, it has to go in correct. I set a little arrow here, and it's close to the screw here, and that's actually the point where the focus ring will go in. So, and then we can move it all the way over here, and it's where the there will be one roller come in here, and of course a screw. And now it's actually possible to work with the focus ring. And as you can see, something's actually working. Also the aperture inside there, it will move so the hole will be smaller, and it should work that way. Nothing wrong with that. Now the next thing is the circuit board, which is also put together with the front element, lens group, as you can see here. And I put a mark over here so I remember, and it's actually the opposite side of the groove for the focus. And I also set a mark here, so just to remember where it should sit. And one thing, you cannot put it wrong in, because there's a pin here and there's a notch here, and those has to connect. So when putting in here, it should just work. The screws can be a little tricky to put in, but with a thinner screwdriver, I think it should work. I mean, hopefully. It was one screw, and there should be one over here. Actually, there are 3. This one also works pretty good. So, and gently tighten. And of course, the last one. It has some thread lock on, but I mean, in my lens I will not use it. Don't think it's necessary in this case. See, it can be a little tricky to put this screw in here. Because of the tape. So, somebody said something about it was easy to work with lenses. Yeah, depends. Well, I think we will manage. So yeah, goes there. And let's see if I can catch the screw. It goes there. So now then we are not that far away from the from the end. This cable goes into here. One of the flex. And this one goes in here. Take care when you're working with those, because they are a bit fragile. So now the engine comes in here for the gear, and goes in here. And maybe I'm wrong. I shouldn't have put it in here. As you might see, no, it's right, because it's that way in. So one put it in, you put it on, so and so it is something like that. So where did the screw went? Here. Okay, yeah, I see. I should have put the motor and the gear in first before I put the lens assembly on the front in. It would make it easier, but well, it will work anyway. Oh, how clever. You see, there's a gap here where one can put in a screwdriver. Oh, that's clever. It might be the same on the other side. No. So now the flex cable comes in here on this connector here. So now we're almost there, and we only missed the tiny spring, not the spring but the brush itself here. And as you might see, I put a mark before I disassemble the lens. I put some mark on here so I know exactly where the brush has to sit when it's correct. So, and you might do the same. So there, and just put this on. So not tighten it now, but just set it correct and then gently screw it in. So it's there. Now okay, something is working, but that's good. Now the focus ring comes on. Is a bit different because because it goes the opposite direction. Actually, one could set this on and put it in just to know where this connector goes. There. The housing, back of the housing, sit there, and it goes on something like that, hopefully. And hopefully now I can see the point where the back should sit in the opposite. So this plate has to come over here, because if not, I cannot put the housing over because of the switch here. So okay, now it's good to know that. Just take it apart. It's not that hard to do. But since I didn't set a mark, yes, I set a mark, but was it the correct one? Well, just move this over to here. and then it should be correct. Hopefully. The screws are really not that good. Oh, not that one, we take the better. We'll see if I can get some spare screws in my toolbox. And there, the last one over here. And then I think I hope it will work that way. Now the housing goes in over, and hopefully it will work. Yes, as you can see, the flat here has to have a direction up to that connector, because if not, one cannot put the housing over. So when putting it in, it should be something like that, and putting over and move it like that, and so it's on. Wow, that was good. I mean, something is working. Okay, now I see. I actually put some mark on, but it was, I couldn't just see for the housing. Well, one lesson learned. And so this is the opposite tutorial of what's normal. And it goes there. What did it go here? So there. So now it seems to look like a lens right now. Just put in the last flex cable here. So it looks like that. And then the focus ring comes in here, and it will it should work that way. It's a kind of a clutch or something. And all cables are in. Yeah. Now the front ring comes on. There is a white dot here which comes on here, and it has 3 screws in the front. think the clutch will work when the camera is attached. I mean, when the lens is attached to the camera, then I think the clutch inside will work. Now the front ring, it's not a nameplate, but it's just a cover, comes on. It has two small notch here and there, and one can use a lens spinner or just a rubber. And sometimes the plastic here is a bit thin, so when trying to use the rubber it will slip. It doesn't really seems to work very good. So I will just use this. I think I will use this one. It's good to have different sizes of those. There, and screw it on gently. The plastic is really the thing that is thin. Okay, here we are. Yeah. I mean, it's just a cover, and sometimes they are a bit thin, or one could say cheap. So here we go, all the way in. So sits there, and then the mount and the two spacers that is used for adjusting the lens when they make it in the factory. There could sit more than something is not correct here. There it is. So where's my tweezer here? Oh. So, and then the mount itself. Okay, it seems to be okay. So this assembly process was without a repair manual or service manual, and I am very sure that, I mean, there might be something out there one can buy, but I haven't found it, simply. So sometimes it's better to make it self. Oh. And then we are almost there. I do not have a Canon camera at the moment, so I cannot actually try it. So, and the last screw goes in here. And the back cover comes on. Sometimes they can be a little tricky to get on, but they're, so it is. So now it's back in almost ready to use thingy. But hope you can use the info in this video. So yeah, there will be more movies, I mean videos from me. So bye bye.